Hello, everyone, and welcome to the For the Content podcast. I am your host, Colesy, and I am joined by my co-host, Rapskilian. I say co-host. I don't mean that you're not any less of a host than me, but that's just the
Basically,
way
I got downgraded since last episode because I talked about,
That's right. This is episode 2. That is correct. This is the second episode of the For the Content podcast.
Yeah. We haven't even,
The first one's not out yet.
Exactly. I was going to say that.
It's the second episode of a podcast that hasn't actually officially been released yet, but there we go.
Yeah, so we don't know if it's been absolute shit show or an amazing success.
True, exactly. We'll find out, I guess.
This is like I was almost going to say Schindler's Cat, but it's like
Schindler's Cat. Yeah, that's right. What is it?
Schrodinger's cat.
That's right.
Basically,
you made me forget. I was going, maybe it is Schindler's Cat. Anyway, I have some topics this time in mind, but I would like to start off with something a little bit. What's the word? I did think of the word, and now I've forgotten the word.
Think about it. What is it? What was it? What's the thing that you want to lead up to?
Basically, it's something like nice and friendly and like to do with my daughter, and it's just like a nice little. I can't remember what the word is now, and that's really annoying me.
A happy moment in life?
Yeah, just a nice little humbling moment. Anyway, I thought I'd start with that because it's fun. So, have you seen? I always see this like on American TV shows. They do the like science fair thing.
Yeah.
Well, I've never done that. We never had that here. We never had like we're gonna build.
I never had that in my life, also.
Exactly. So. My daughter's learning about volcanoes at school, so immediately I jumped on this and was like, "We're gonna build a volcano, and we're gonna put the baking soda in it and make it erupt and stuff."
Yeah.
So I've got a bit over the top, and we've got like a big 2-foot volcano that we're currently halfway through building, and I just thought I'd bring it up because it's quite funny. And by next episode, I might have actually filmed the eruption, so that'll be pretty cool. It's more for me than her. I'm gonna be honest. It feels like I've taken over and gone. We have to do this because I missed out.
Like, Dad, I'm not that interested. Like, shush.
She's quite happy with it.
Love this. So, a wholesome moment.
Wholesome was the word.
There we go.
We got there. The wholesome moment. I thought we'd start with that.
Moment. Yeah, we got it there. Yeah,
thought it'd be a nice introduction to the podcast second episode.
Yeah, after talking about horrible, depressing stuff from the first episode.
Exactly. I figured it's happened within the last week. So how's your week been since the last recording? Anything fun to update us on?
So, like today, this is a thought, and I cannot believe, and I wanted to see if you also know this, but have you ever seen a snail and just wonder how it gets born?
I guess I've never thought of how a snail is born. No, I've never considered it.
And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, I don't know how a snail is born. Wait, do I know how a worm is born?
Yeah, I guess I've never thought of that either. Exactly. Have you Googled it to find out?
I Googled it out. I Googled it. Like, what would you say how a snail's born?
I mean,
what would your thought be?
I mean, in my head, they're just born like other stuff is born. I mean, I guess because mammals, we're born
through the
as
hole.
like a whole thing. We're not like birds. Birds have eggs.
Yeah.
But they're not mammals and they're not birds.
No.
So I don't know how they work. They don't split or something stupid, do they? Like a bacteria where they like just.
That would be amazing though.
There are types of worms that do that. Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe it grows a little bit extra and it just slithers off. It's baby worm. I don't know, baby snail.
No, so apparently snails are born from eggs.
Oh, they are eggs. Okay.
Yeah, like eggs, like a huge egg sack.
I guess like spiders are kind of, they
lay
eggs
and then
you see those.
And then earthworms, like they pop out like a cocoon.
Okay.
And then babies come out of that.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. No, because like I thought like isn't like.
It makes sense now that you say it. Like I wouldn't have thought of it on my own, but I go, yeah, I guess that.
Thought, like originally, I had the moment where I stood there and I was like, I don't know this piece of common knowledge, and it's terrifying.
I don't know whether it is common knowledge. I think it's something that nobody ever thinks about. Nobody's considered it.
I think the next time you guys voting for a new prime minister, the first question you're going to ask him, like, how are snails born?
How are snails born? Do you know how a snail is born? And they're like, no. And you're like, well, you're not mine. You're not my prime minister. Forget about it.
No, that was just a random thought that I had. I thought it would be really interesting to talk about.
Okay.
What have you been gaming recently, by the way?
Nothing.
Sounds depressing.
I don't think I've played a game since last time we recorded, which is almost a week ago.
How dare you?
I know, I've been busy. Stuff's been happening.
Yeah.
I've been editing videos that I already had recorded, so I haven't even needed to record anything for any videos. I'm just pretty bad at it. I've seen that you started to play Star Citizen, though. Is that right? Yeah. I saw that on Twitter, and I don't... Before the podcast, I thought, I'll bring that up, because he'll probably want to talk about it, because you wanted to tweet about it, so it might be something you've got opinions on. So I Googled it quickly, because I was like, oh, I don't really know what it is. But all I saw was it's like 35 euros to buy, and it was like... It confused me instantly because there was some sort of insurance that came with the game or something. And I was like, oh, what? I don't... Let me look it up. I want to find the right word. But you can tell me about it while I look it up.
Well, the thing is, so at the moment they have a free-to-play week.
Oh, is it free?
It's until the 30th. And I thought, if it's free, I'm going to give it a go. You know, I always wanted to try the game. So for those that don't know, that's been living under a rock, they don't know what Star Citizen is. Star Citizen is a...
I have no idea what it is.
Living in a rock shed.
Yeah.
It is a persistent universe similar to No Man's Skies, where you are a space explorer and you can fly to different planets. It's not like vast with infinite number of planets like No Man's Skies.
Right.
It's more centralized around a solar system, like a smaller planetary system.
Right, okay. You
can get yourself a ship. You can become a pirate. You could become a merchant. You could become a taxi. You could become a medic. You become so many things. There is such a broad level of things you can do in the game, and it's absolutely amazing. It is broken.
Okay, that's a good start.
Super broken. Like, I'll get to a point where I think it's like the moment I was like, oh shit. Colesy, do you remember the first time you played Half-Life? Did you ever play Half-Life 1?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Okay. What was, like, when you were a child, young Colesy, did you have ever experience when you played a video game for the first time, you were like, you got that tingly feeling in your chest? Like, because you were so amazed at what you're experiencing at that moment?
Yeah. I mean, I've had that, but where you're just like so sort of taken aback by what you're seeing, you're like,
exactly, and like,
oh my god.
Like, did you realize that when you start, as you get older, that feeling has kind of not happened so often? Like, you feel kind of numb when you play video games,
I think
right?
we're spoiled with what we've already witnessed and been through, and you're like, it's just not going to live up to the first time. It's like when you watch a movie. You know, the first time you watch a movie, you're like, a specific movie, and you're like, oh my god, it's amazing. And sometimes you wish you could forget you've ever watched it, so you could experience it again for the first time.
Yeah. So we're going to come back to the fact that you never played Half-Life 1.
Yeah, I've considered playing it. I haven't done it yet.
Considered doing it. But there's a moment in Star Citizen, like, you could choose a starting planet, because you have to choose which planet you belong to, which system you belong to, so you can spawn into just in case you die.
Right.
So I spawned into this world. I get out of my bed in the game. You wake up in a bed, as always, and you're supposed to go to the hangar, like, which is in this large city.
Right.
All the AI is broken.
Cool.
Every single AI is facing the same direction, or standing in the air, or like sitting in the sitting down. They're like floating on the chair.
Okay, that's good.
It's like that's immersive break. It breaks you out of immersion. Like, holy shit, what's wrong with everybody, right?
Yeah, that stuff does.
And then
can take you out.
I went down the certain stairs. It's in area 18. If people that play Star Citizen will probably know what that is. I go down to the subway system, to the train system. There's a train system in the game to get to different parts of the city. In each city, there's this time schedule for each train. It
sounds very immersive, super immersive. So realistic.
It's so detailed. I was so godsmacked.
I mean, I think that's like the ideal video game, is a game that is so
So
deep that you could do anything. It can have all this space travel, but you could be like, I'm actually just a farmer that stays on one planet and I just do farming.
They're gonna
That's what
add
you want. A game that can have that breadth of, content.
Yeah. So I get on the train and it goes down this slope and you go through the city, and at that moment I was streaming this when this happened. I went down the hill in the game, the city, whatever you want to call it, and I had that gamer moment of like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is actually happening, and it reminded me of Half-Life 1's train scene. If you don't know what that means, but people watching will probably know what I mean. That train scene where you're like, you see the world and you're like, holy shit, I can go anywhere on this planet. And then you get to the spaceship, you get in your ship, and you go into space, and you realize the scale of the planet. So I don't know how No Man's Sky does it, but Star Citizen has their planets to a scale of 1/8 or 1/6 of Earth.
Right. Okay. Got you. Yeah.
So I met a guy in the game, came into my stream, and he helped me out, showed me how to play the game. And he's like, "Oh, let's go do this quest on this one planet. We were gonna pick up a piece of cargo." We fly there. We hyper jump to the spot, closest spot to this whole thing, and it's written on the waypoint. It's 400 kilometers away. For me, as a video gamer, I'm like, 400 kilometers. That'll be fast for a plane or a spaceship. Will be there in a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
It took us 15 minutes.
It's like I've played No Man's Sky a bit, and when you're actually traveling between the planets and stuff, you can actually do that. It's like a boost. It's not a boost.
Yeah,
it's like a
boost,
warp drive thing. But if you run out of fuel, I don't know whether it always happens, but I when I've played it, you run out of fuel and you generally are in some sort of asteroid belt, so you can kind of destroy the asteroids to get more fuel. But if you don't have it, it actually tells you the timer on the screen. It's like, it'll take you 20 minutes to get to there, and you're like, oh god, that's 20 minutes real time. Oh, I've got to find some fuel, otherwise I'm going to be here forever, just nothing. Yeah. So I get. I mean, really, it's nice to have that as long as the world is populated enough. Because if it's just empty, it's not great. Do you know what I mean?
So currently, there's only 4 servers: it's US, Europe, and Asia.
Right.
That's 3.
Is there like an Australian one?
No, I don't know. Like usually Australia is with Asia.
I don't know how so.
Okay. Anyway, so basically, there's a lot of people on the server, but the game has a lot of grim. Like when I played the first time, I couldn't invite someone to my party. I couldn't talk to people in proximity chat or into voice chat. We couldn't chat with each other in the game because it broke. The whole thing just broke.
It doesn't sound. It sounds so weird because you're having such a good experience with it, like you said, like when you saw.
It's so conflicting.
But then it's so broken, right? I've got the website up, so I can tell you what I found earlier. So the cheapest one, these are select your Star Citizen starter packs, right? Yeah. So the cheapest one is $45.
Yeah,
and it includes a C8X Pisces Expedition. I assume is some sort of ship, some sort of paint. It's fine. Starting money, you get 1,000 UEC. I don't know what that is.
That's not a lot.
No, you get a self-land hangar, and you get 120-month insurance. Now, I don't understand that. I assume it's an in-game concept, but it just sounds so weird when you're like, oh, yeah, I need to get the one with the good insurance. So, it's a game.
So the thing is, you can lose your ship.
Like permanently, like permanently.
Yeah, permanently lost your ship. So if you don't have insurance on your ship, so you can use in-game. So it's currency.
Like, yeah, again, it's it's so big. It's got in-game car insurance, like you have in real life.
Because like what you can do is if you want to be a cheeky bugger, you can wait up on the hangar, wait for somebody to land their plane. I keep saying plane, their ship.
Yeah. And
when they go into the lift, before it gets taken away, they can run out and take your ship and steal it.
I mean, that sounds fun. I feel like that's what I would do.
Cool. Like, I watched a video of one guy who was flying through space, and you can get these huge ships that have the ability to have you can dock with your small ship on the big ship.
Right.
This one guy found this huge ship floating in space, flies up behind it with his small ship, gets out, floats over to that big ship because the big ship was stationary for some reason, gets on there, kills the crew, and hijacks the ship.
Like the big one.
The big one, yeah.
Well, then, that's how you win. You've won the game.
Yeah,
that's
but
part of
this
it.
is like-
You're a pirate. They've decided they want to be a pirate. Somebody's being a farmer on a planet, and someone's like, I'm going to be a space pirate.
So they're gonna
It's
add.
cool.
They're gonna add base building to the game.
Yeah, right. I think No Man's Sky did add that eventually.
Yeah. So like
It started
the thing
without
is with Star Citizen, it is born from a gamer's mind.
Right.
So the guy that made it, I keep forgetting his name. He did a lot of like space simulator games a long time ago. I'm trying to find his name.
I did see earlier, actually, I was doing a bit of research for a video I was editing, and I was looking at the most expensive games, like development cost, and
Yeah.
I do remember seeing Star Citizen there a few times, and it's funny
It
that
is.
it's on like the top 10 most expensive games to develop ever, and it's like hundreds of millions, and yet you're going, it's quite broken though, and I'm like, but they
It is
spent
very, very
300
broken.
million.
It's
and
very broken.
I think Halo Infinite was like the most expensive game ever made, wasn't it? It's like 500 million
I think this
budget or
game
something
raised
stupid.
over like $100 million.
Was it like a Kickstarter kind
It's
of?
a Kickstarter, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It seems cool. It's a game that I can imagine I would enjoy, but it's a game that I imagine you have to spend a lot of time in, and I don't have that much. Same as like World of Warcraft. I don't have the time to play a game like that. I just don't. I can't do it.
well, the thing is, not really. Not really, because
But there will be people that do it. It's like GTA RP. You know when people like
Yeah,
they
of
come home from
course.
their real job and they're like, now I'm going to be a police officer for the next 6 hours in GTA, and you're like, oh, I couldn't do that. I don't have time. There will be people that do that in Star Citizen and go, I need to spend the next 6 hours farming or pirating ships or whatever.
So this like really a good example. Like, this is a really cool thing I found. There's like this so much cool content creators out there that make content for Star Citizen. There's this guy that he's a medic. His whole shtick is he's a medic. So if you get stranded on a planet, or your ship runs out of fuel mid-space, hyper jump, whatever, you can hold in a certain button on your keyboard and it sends out a rescue beacon. Now, either you're going to get robbed, or you can get
Yeah, someone's
rescued.
going to go, this is a great opportunity to rob that person who's struggling already.
Like Rick and Morty's, like a rescue beacon is always a good time for looting.
Mm-hmm. Makes
So
sense.
he's like, okay, every time someone's like stuck on a planet or there's fuel runs out, he goes to his ship, prepares all his stuff, like gets some supplies, food, medical stuff, and extra fuel, and he flies over to that person and rescues them and stuff like that. And he makes videos of TikToks from that. I find that
cool.
so cool.
It's clever. It's clever content. It's not something I don't think I would jump to doing in my head, because I'm more of a troublemaker. I'd be the guy that's like, I don't care about this game. I'm not gonna play it. I'm just gonna hide in this little crack and wait till someone lands their ship, and I'm gonna steal it and run away. This guy's being really nice. He's doing nice things. I'm too horrible in games, apparently.
But like I was trying to say before, like Star Citizen is it's a game made by a gamer. Like if you ask a gamer, what is your most ideal game? They'll bring out the weirdest ideas. Like I want to make a game like this and that, like with so much detail and that and then. A company like Activision, like that's not going to sell.
Yeah, or they're gonna go, that's gonna be so expensive to make and so complicated.
Yeah,
We're
so
not
we have to
doing
cut
that.
corners here. Maybe we
Yeah.
could do that. But the guy that made the company with the Kickstarter originally was like, I want to make this and this and this. I even remember watching an interview one time. They were like, because he wanted to do it. So if you put your helmet on and you go out of space, you don't die. So you need your helmet always with you, right?
Right.
He wanted to have the UI be connected to the helmet. So if you take off your helmet, you can't use your menus. You can't exit the game.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Or change your graphical settings. You have to put your helmet on. So if your player...
That's very clever. Very
It's
immersive.
very clever. That's very immersively. But if you lost your helmet...
You're stuck in the game forever.
You can't log out.
I mean, I guess, see, that's one of those things. He's come up with the idea and it sounds great, but in reality, they're going to have to go, what, look, you can't stick people in a game where they can't get out.
They stopped them. Like, you can't do that. People are going to lose their helmets and they're going to fucking complain.
Yeah. I mean, to some stuff that works. It's like, if you couldn't track your oxygen level or certain HUD elements, that's fine. When you start going, now the game is constantly running and you can't stop it. Like, well, we can't do that because we're going to get in trouble. Someone's computer's going to explode because it's on 24/7 and we're going to get sued.
Yeah, it's just like those kind of things. I was like, it made me always excited to play the game, but like you said,
play it.
You need a good CPU, by the way.
I'm good. I'm all right.
Oh, sorry. Which CPU are you running, Mr. Brick Shed?
I've got some sort of i9 10th gen, I think. So I think I'm okay.
How much RAM do you have, by the way?
This is a fun conversation for the podcast. I think 32 gig.
Ooh, and graphics card?
3090. Yeah.
I'm so poor. I have no
money. No, I spent a lot of money on my computer, and it was a big expense of mine.
No,
I think my computer cost me more than my car did, but there we go. That's how it works.
That's actually
priorities.
Like I met a friend of mine. He has a computer company here in the area where I live, and he was building. When I went to his shop, he was building a PC for a customer. And we were just like talking shop, like, this graphics card and this IOA and like that stuff is really cool. And then we just went on, just for fun, we Googled the prices of graphics cards.
Yeah.
The 3090 Ti costs £2,000.
Mm-hmm. They're not cheap. I mean, you know what's the worst thing is, like, when I bought mine, it was the best computer I could have bought at the time. And now it's very good. Don't get me wrong, and I will never complain about that. But as soon as it gets outdated, the 3090 Ti comes out, I go, mine's not the best now. and then I'm going, it's got 24 gig of virtual VRAM. I'm like, I'm never going to use that. I don't even need what I already have, so I need to stop being a baby about it.
Well, if you want to donate to me, you could buy yourself a Ti and then give me the 3890.
Yeah. If I get a Ti, you can have my 3090.
Everyone here's heard it is. There's audio proof.
Yeah, I don't know who's getting me the 3090 Ti because no one's getting me it, and I'm not planning on buying one anytime soon. Talking about computers, actually.
Yeah.
Funny little thing that I found today.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got this wireless mouse. It's a Logitech one of some sort. MX Master, it's called.
Oh, I have got one of those.
You've got one of these.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, maybe did you know this? Because I figured this out today. So it's got the scroll wheel. You got your 2 clicks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a sideways scroll wheel.
Yeah.
And it's got 2 little buttons. This is a button here.
What?
Like, this pad is a button. You can push it down. I pushed it down earlier, and it brought up a bunch of stuff on my PC, and I'm like, I thought that was just a finger rest, but no, this is actually a button. You push it down. I've had this for months. I don't understand it. I just went, that looks a bit raised. I thought it was coming off or something, like the plastic. So I pushed it, and then stuff happened, and I was like, it's a frigging button. I didn't even know it.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, well, it's a dumb thing I found out today completely by accident. I thought it was hilarious.
That's the great part about buying technology. It always surprises you when you do something with it. I love mice.
I love mouse.
Mice?
I love mouse.
Plural?
Mice. Yeah,
plural.
Mice.
That have so many buttons on the side.
There's a limit. I couldn't do with one of those. The one, was it the Razer ones that have freaking 16 buttons on the side? I mean, I know that has an exact purpose. I know it has a purpose for specific games. That's too many buttons for me. I'm not playing games with that many things.
I wanted to get the World of Warcraft mouse. Did you ever see that one?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's from Razer, and it has I think 12 or 15 macros buttons on the side. With that raised area, so you can just have all the abilities on the mouse.
Yeah, see, it's a perfect game for it. But I mean, I like having my 2 buttons on the side. That'll do me. I can use one as a melee and one as a grenade because I'll probably play an FPS or something. That'll do me.
Just imagine you had that mouse. You don't need to have a Stream Deck.
Yeah, but
for a stream, if you had I thought about this because before I wanted
you'd press them by accident for definite. You'd be changing scenes all over the shop, being like, "Oh God, I've accidentally been on Be Right Back for 25 minutes." Yeah.
So like when I had a dual PC set up, before I had the PC that I got right now, I wanted to buy that because the Stream Deck came out and it was so expensive when it came out originally. Yeah. And the mouse that was maybe like £50 and the Stream Deck was like £140 back then. Probably still is. And I was like, okay, if I, because I don't use I had 2 keyboards, 2 mice.
That's too confusing.
I was like, okay, so the streaming PC is on that side, and if I want to macro something, I used to use like a USB numpad.
Yeah.
So like just a numpad that you just plug into your computer via USB, and I had all my macros pushed onto that.
That's exactly how I did it when I first started. Before I had a Stream Deck, I had all my scene change. I think they might still be set on my actual number pad on my keyboard. Yeah.
It was such a pain in the ass. I hate it, and I absolutely despise using macros on the keyboard with OBS's macros because they keep breaking.
It's fine. I've never had a problem with it, other than my own idiocy where I'll go to like type some numbers and I've suddenly changed scenes 3 times, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the only problem I ever had.
No, I love the Stream Deck.
It's a fun piece of tech. I think it's too expensive personally for.
It's going to go. Watch. I'm telling you right now, Stream Deck's prices are going to fall.
I mean,
like Elgato's prices are gonna fall.
There's before I even had the Stream Deck, I did plenty of videos on. There's an app called Touch Portal, I think it was. That was a very good alternative, and it was very cheap.
I did. I regret saying this out loud. I used to stream with Streamlabs OBS.
I've done that previously. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have the phone integration where you can download an app.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Again, Streamlabs OBS stole that idea from that app that you're using. That you're talking about, the Touch Portal?
Yeah, Touch Portal. Yeah. It was a good alternative. It was a good piece of software. It's not exactly the same. And I understand, like, I have a Stream Deck and it's like, it is really nice to use and it's simple and it just works. And Touch Portal involves a little bit more setup. But if you're just starting out or you don't have the money, I like the fact that these things exist so that you don't have to go out and spend £150 on something that really you don't need.
I just like the timers.
Oh yeah, the timers. I've got a 30-minute timer set. That's the only one I have.
Like this one here, like this. What I could do like this.
Now that's just clever. Oh no! Now you're back. Oh, you're all over the place.
Like just that simple little thing.
It's very easy to use as well. And this isn't an advert for the Stream Deck, by the way.
Absolutely not.
We'll take a sponsorship.
I just love good tech. That's all.
It's fun. I'm a big nerd when it comes to tech and playing with silly gadgets and stuff. That's why I like VR. It's silly, but it is
VR
fun.
So badly, man.
It's fun. It's expensive, and you don't use it nearly as much as you think you're going to do, considering you spent £300 on a headset. No, you say you will, and it's awesome when you're in it. First time you use it, you're like, this is the best thing ever, this is so cool, and then you go, yeah, but I'm not going to use it very often. It sits in the back, and I'll use it occasionally.
I just want to, because I played VR chat with normal setup, without any VR,
just on a PC, yeah.
Yeah, because I was one time... I did a paid campaign for a other VR chat clone. They paid a bunch of... This is the funniest shit that I've ever seen. They launched the game, and every single person you met in that game that day was another content creator streaming or playing on YouTube.
Okay.
There was nobody playing the game.
Yeah, but that's how they did Apex Legends, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's just,
I mean, there were obviously people playing that, but they did pay a lot of people to play that on stream and stuff as well. It's a good technique.
It was a very bad game.
Yeah, it's a good technique if you've got the game to back it up, I guess.
And he was like really broken. They're supposed to have a concert in it, and it was a whole mess and a mess and a mess and a mess. But after that stream, I went to play VR chat, and I had the most interesting experiences in VR chat. But I was like, this needs to be done in a VR headset.
Yeah.
So you can have arm movements, and
you can buy a Quest 2. They're not that expensive. I mean, they are, but they're not overly expensive.
So the Quest 2, I really wanted to buy that. I had that as a streamed gold donation thing for a while now.
Yeah.
My community has clearly, by not donating, told me very clearly, we don't want you to buy that.
I mean, I think they're probably like the content. They just don't want to have to pay for it.
But this is, I don't know, mate. I feel if I want to get a headset, if I'm gonna go VR, I want to get something like the HTC Vive or the Valve Index.
Yeah.
With the whole room sensor stuff.
It just depends. Well, it depends on a number of different things. Depends how much you want to spend, because obviously the Index is a lot more expensive. Well, I assume your PC is going to be perfectly good enough to run VR anyway, so that's not a concern. Really? No, come on. It doesn't need to be that good. I made a brilliant video on my channel.
Do you know what's wrong with my PC?
Go on then.
This
what's wrong
processor.
Why? What you got?
I got the Ryzen 7 2007.
Well, surely that's fine.
It keeps throttling my graphics card and the rest of my computer.
Is it
because I have
hot?
32 gig? No, because it can't keep up with the processing.
So it's just a bottleneck. It's not because it's like overheating and throttling. It's
basically bottlenecking the whole. Like I should be getting much more better performance on for my GPU and my RAM, but because of my processor, I'm getting bottlenecked. So now I have to buy a new processor. That's a new thing. I changed the donation.
Yeah, you're like, I'm using all of
VR?
the Quest money to buy a new CPU.
Yeah.
See, that's the good thing about the Quest 2, though, is you don't need a PC. So
I know.
But if you want to, you can plug it into a PC. So it kind of works like that. It works well for me. I like it. I think it's a good headset. I had the first Rift.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The first one they released, the CV1 or whatever. I had that before I got my Quest. And that was super fun. I enjoyed it. That was really good. But then the portability and the ease of this one, of the Quest 2, just makes it so much nicer for me. I mean, if I had a bigger room and stuff, yeah, you'd be like, oh, let's get the Index, let's get 7 cameras mounted, and it'll be the best experience you've ever had. But I can't do that right now.
No, I get my biggest fear with the Quest 2 is basically input lag.
What, when you're playing PC VR?
Yeah. Because
I've never noticed it.
I played the PlayStation VR.
I've never played
and it gave me horrible motion sickness.
The weird thing with VR is it's like you have to get used to it.
Yeah.
You have to go through it, and it's horrible. I had it once where I had really bad motion sickness. It was not long after I got my Quest 2, because I was playing a bunch of games and playing with all the stuff that you could do.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake of going into Google Maps VR or whatever it was. No. And it's really cool because you're like, you can teleport yourself down and be like, I'm stood in the middle of Paris or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you fly yourself and you fling the world around, and you don't realize at the time that it's making you feel sick. And I took it off and I was like done for the day. And I went to sit down and have dinner. Halfway through dinner, I went, hang on, I need to put my face on the table. And I just laid on the table going, oh, everything's spinning. That was the only experience I've ever had where I felt sick. I've never been back in Google Earth VR since. I think that made me feel sick, but you do kind of have to get used to it. It's one of those things.
So I bought the PlayStation VR when it came out.
Oh, you actually had the PlayStation VR?
I have it.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, this is going to be awesome. I bought the mech game and the VR game that comes with it. I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing.
Mm.
And then I played the mech game for like half an hour, and I was like, oof, I'm getting a bit queasy. And then I was like, I should play the other game where you're a robber, you're shooting the car stuff.
Yeah,
and
I think I know that one, yeah.
The first scene you're in a bank, and you have to hide behind a table.
Yeah.
To shoot, like for cover, right? That's
yeah,
really cool, concept-wise.
Yeah,
Problem is, PlayStation cheaped out and used a very old PlayStation 3 camera,
right,
as a sensor, and little dongle boys from a PlayStation 3 era. So what happens when Rapskilian goes like this? It desyncs.
Yeah.
And it thinks, is it the floor was from here went there because his head is down there.
Yeah. Is the sensor, so it's a sensor that's watching you.
It's a sensor that watches.
It's like a camera that watches the headset, and that's how it locates where you are.
At the front of the headset. It only recognizes the front.
Right, yeah. See, the Quest 2 has the cameras in it, so you don't actually have to mount any of those sensors around your room. So that's quite nice. But then obviously, like, if you were to, I don't know, put your hand behind something, like the controller behind... Yeah, exactly. It does sort of know when stuff's behind your back, because half the time in a game, that's where, like, you put your gun. You'll, like, holster it. So, but then, obviously, if you... I don't know. But I prefer that to the mounting cameras, like, on your ceiling kind of thing.
What Quest does, the last time I googled it, and Microsoft's AR headsets, which are actually VR headsets, but they call it AR.
Those ones that are made by like Dell, and there's like a bunch of them.
They use a predictive AI to kind of calculate, okay, if the player's put his hand there, he's going to put his hand in front, so they can kind of like estimate where it is on the back.
Yeah, it's clever, and it does work. But obviously I'm going, but there's only cameras on the front of the headset, and that's how it knows. So it can't see my hand behind my back, but it knows it's there.
It knows it.
It's clever, though.
But Sony's PlayStation VR doesn't do that. So when Rappy went doing the cover thing and went up, the floor went up.
Yeah.
And I just went...
Yeah, no. There's been times when I've been playing some sort of VR game that's like a side-loaded one or something that somebody's made.
Oh, yeah.
And in a loading screen, it sort of pauses the visual, so when you move your head, nothing moves and everything moves with, and you're like, oh, hang on, this is horrible. So you just say dead still until it's finished loading, and then you're like, oh, I can move again now, it's all good. Yeah, it's quite weird. It's quite weird. I think VR, for some people, they just can't use it, and that's kind of sad because it is a really cool experience when you do it. And for some people, you just have to like wean yourself onto it. You just do like 30 minutes of Beat Saber each day until you're used to not being sick, which is a weird thing to say.
Just keep a puke bucket right next to you.
Yeah.
So, I think, like for instance, a good example. I don't know, man. Like, there has to be a point where like it gets so good that it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like I think VR is still very early, and like I said, like I don't play it that much. It's a shame, but I don't.
Like it's a refresh rate, quality, screen door effect, these different things. If they remove those, then it's like, oh, I think everyone can do this.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'd love to like get my mum or my dad to play on my VR headset and be like, look, but I know for a fact they'd be sick. Like my mum, I remember when I was a kid playing on my N64, and I'd play GoldenEye. And I would just spin the camera around, and my mum would go, I can't watch this, I'm going to vomit. And I'm like, ooh, Jesus. What are you on about, mum? This is cool. She wouldn't be able to do VR. Not a chance.
I know a few people that cannot play first-person shooters because they get motion sickness from it.
Yeah, that's
blows
crazy
my mind.
I wonder if it's a refresh rate thing.
No, it's because it's a disconnect.
I know some people that have played with not low FPS, but they've played like 60 FPS, and they're like, oh, it makes me feel sick. But then they've played on high refresh, and it's made them feel less sick. But
yeah,
I guess it differs from person to person.
It's about like because your body feels like it's like when you're a driver. If you drove your whole life and you sit in the passenger seat, you get this weird sensation when someone else is driving. You're like, you want to do it that way. Your body tells you, do this, this, and this, but it's not doing that.
Yeah. I get what you mean. It's like it seems off. That's what it is with like motion sickness, isn't it? It's like
your body's
moving around, but your eyes are seeing everything still, but your body's moving and it's confused.
You probably noticed there was a little cut there before. So this spam company for health insurance, which is a very popular scam call here in Switzerland, they first called me from a landline. I rejected that number, and then instantaneously there was another phone call from a mobile number.
Yeah.
Then I rejected that, and there was again another landline. So I finally answered, and she's like, oh, thankfully I was able to finally catch you. She's like, what I always do is I let them do their opener. I do the whole line of da 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 da. Yeah, I don't say anything. I just hang up and block.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, you can block them, but because they're most of the time they're in a call center, they'll just have a different phone number and they'll ring you from that one. It's like, do I have to block 50 numbers for so I've blocked the entire center?
So many numbers on my phone.
Yeah.
Samsung has this really cool system where you have a community shared block list. So if someone's blocked that number in the past because it's a spam number, When someone
It's
when
like,
that number
yeah.
calls you, it'll be like, hey, this is a spam number. You're
They're like,
"Ah,
by the
this is-"
way, a lot of other people think this is spam, so just we're warning you. That's quite clever, that is. I mean, I normally just have to do the thing where you Google it and you're like, is it spam? Yep. Google says it's a spam call. I will ignore it.
I don't answer any phone numbers I don't know. I think it's a general rule of thumb. If I don't expect, if I know someone's going to call me from a number that I don't know, like let's say a company or something important for the family, then I'll answer the phone. But otherwise,
If you're not expecting it, yeah.
I don't
mean,
answer the phone.
I'll answer, see what it is. I'll go with it, whatever.
It's like
fine.
it's like the thing. It's like if you open the door, then they will come in. It's like a
Yeah, that's
vampire.
the
It's like a
problem.
vampire. You know, that like they got you.
You're
in.
inviting them in.
You're
Yeah.
inviting them in. Have you watched those Jim Rolling videos?
No, I don't know what that is.
The scam call video. Scam. Scam
Oh,
call
where
center.
he does the voice changer and he like pretends to be an old lady and like wastes 3 hours of their life and then goes, nah.
Yeah, not the guy with the sunglasses. Like this is a real British
I was-
dude
I
That-
think that was the guy I was thinking of.
that was able to hack into the security cameras of the call center.
Oh, is
And,
this
like,
the one where he was saying their real names
Yeah,
to them?
yeah,
And they were
yeah,
going,
yeah.
oh, yeah, I saw this the other day. She'd be like, oh, my name's Mary. And he's like, oh, is it? Shirley. And she'd be like, what? Because he could see the cameras. He could see them reacting. That was so clever. And
Yeah,
then she passed. Everyone had a go. Everyone in the
Yeah.
call center was like, what's my name? It's weird. That was funny.
Oh man, I watch those videos and I get frustrated, but and then it's like, because I used to work in sales and also tech support for like people like that.
I'd hate to work in
It's
sales.
so crazy how many people come in the shop and like, we had a time where we had to ask every customer that's buying Apple Pay, like Apple prepaid cards, like the little the
Oh, yeah, because, yeah, that's a lot of scams is,
What do you
oh, you
call
have
it,
to go
Apple
and
cards?
buy. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's like gift cards. That's what they are,
Apple
yeah.
gift cards. Thank you. And they're like, "Oh, are you buying this because someone told you to buy
Yeah.
it?" And I had this one old lady. She's like, "Yes."
Yes, and you're like, don't buy it.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Why are you buying this?" Because I was asked to buy this. By who? And she's like, "But why do you want to know this?"
Yeah, it
And
seems
she
an
got
odd
so
question.
offended. She got
It
so
does.
offended.
It's an odd thing to question. If you like, if someone questioned why you were buying bread, you'd be like, how dare you ask me why I'm buying bread and who told me to buy
Okay, if
bread?
someone asked me why I'm buying the bread, I'm like, "What's wrong with the bread? What's going on? What is
Exactly.
going to happen?"
But this lovely old lady thinks that she's doing the right thing and the proper thing, and then you're questioning her, and she's just confused.
It just turned out her son asked her to, her grandson asked her to buy the Apple Pay,
There you
Apple
go.
gift
There you
card.
go
And I
then.
was like, "Are you sure it's your son? And you
See?
don't have to lie to me, man." She's like, "No, seriously, it's my son." Like,
Well, he said he was my son
is
anyway.
he from India?
He did sound strange on the phone, but he said he was my son. I think I've never been scammed by one of those because I think us being technologically a little bit knowledgeable, we know
Yeah.
about it. It is the old ladies and the people that don't know. I know my girlfriend's auntie, she got tricked by one of those spam calls. They rang her and
okay.
they said, I can't remember what they said, but they were like, oh, you need to pay £200 or whatever. And then they were like, oh, we'll help you set up your online banking. And then it was like, she didn't ask any of us. She did it. Then she sent the payment. Then they go, oh no, you've sent too much or something. And we'll send, and then they sent her, they sent her a screenshot of them refunding it. And then she sent another payment and it was like, but she just got scammed out of like £400, I think. I think she managed to get half of it back from the bank, but the other half they were like,
bank will have like an insurance for that, but
the other half they couldn't give her back
Yeah.
because they were like, unfortunately, that's your fault. You gave them the money, whereas the
you've been
second time,
stupid.
yeah, I mean there is a limit of what they could give you back. I guess they were like, well, half of that was you being an idiot. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So.
Like,
I mean, I don't mind being scammed out of 20 quid or something. Like I've bought
No,
something-
I'd be angry if I lost.
I've bought something on Facebook like last week, and I bought it, and the guy was like, because you always got to be careful when you're buying things, and when they say PayPal's fine, you're like, that's all right, we'll do PayPal, we'll do goods and services, and you're fine. And the guy was like, if you can bank transfer it to me, and I'm like, right, I know full well that I'm not going to get this back if he just runs away with it. There's no chance. But I was like, it's 20 quid. I can probably lose that. Like, it's a good deal if it is 20 quid. And if I lose 20 quid, it's not the end of the world. So I did it. I sent it. And then for the whole weekend, I messaged him being like, any update on posting it? And he just not replied. And I'm like, oh no, I think I've been scammed. And then today, I think he did reply. And he was like, oh, I've just been really busy. And I'm like, oh my God. I'd sort of got my head into the space that I was definitely scammed. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's not a scam. I think I got a good deal.
Yeah, but that can also be a part of the scam.
Well, we'll find out if I ever actually get anything in the post. But I figured it was not a huge amount of money. I'm okay with it. It was worth the risk.
I think I've never been scammed in a sense of like that. But I do remember the first PC, like a custom built PC that I bought here in Switzerland. I just gave it to Google like custom PC.
Yeah.
And I found this random, really bad old web, like Web 1.0 build piece website.
Yeah,
I ordered from it. I paid like 1,200 or something Swiss francs back then. So it's probably 1,900 pounds. Whatever. Like, no, sorry, 1,100 pounds.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
You
for
were very
student.
trusting of that very old website, apparently.
And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you don't need this. You can take this one." He gave me some advice, and he was generally nice. I got the PC, and it was horribly built.
Yeah.
The graphics card didn't the motherboard was fitted wrong, and the chassis didn't fit to the motherboard. So the graphics cards, the HDMI port didn't fit. If you wanted to plug in HDMI, you had to bend the case.
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
So when I wanted to contact him about that, I went to the website and he IP blocked me.
Oh, got him, boys.
And I was like, what? And I went to my friend's house and I went onto the site and I was able to contact him. I told him, like, why did you IP block my my PC? My that, and he blocked that IP.
Yeah. Let's see, that's what I did with this Facebook guy. I noticed he was selling some other things. So I messaged him from my account about this other item, thinking he probably won't remember my name. He'll probably message me about that and I'll go, hey, now I've got you, answer this question. But he did just reply. But I thought, I'm gonna have to go on my girlfriend's Facebook and message him like that. And I was like, oh, that's not even, I've just remembered, now that you're saying that, the worst scam is I recently got scammed by a builder who was just very bad. Just
That's
so bad.
In the UK, isn't it though?
We paid him for a new bathroom to be fitted in our ensuite bathroom in our bedroom. No, it's not posh. It's not posh. It's not posh. I knew you were going to say it. Yeah, well, my house is weird. We don't have a main bathroom. We've got two bedrooms. They both have en suites. That's the only toilets in the house. It made sense. Okay. Anyway, so the one in our bedroom we were having redone because we were having this little leak. So we figured we may as well get the bathroom done at the same time as they fix the leak. It's probably worth it because they'll probably have to rip everything out anyway. Yeah. So we found this guy and he was local. He lives down the road from us in the same village. But he said he was a builder and, I guess he seemed all right. And he came around and he gave us a quote. And I think we paid him $2,500 to rip out the bathroom, make sure it didn't leak, and then fit an entire new shower, sink, toilet. Oh my God, the pain in the arse we've had with that. He was the worst. He was, I don't think he knew what he was doing, basically. Okay. There's so many things that we were like, that's not working. He put tiles on the floor. He asked us if we wanted tiles. And I was like, yeah, fine, we'll have tiles. I'm not really bothered, but being as you've suggested it, fine. Yeah. And then he put those down and they cracked. Oh, no. In about a week, they were all cracked and falling off and coming up. And then he tried to blame us. And then I paid him $2,500. He left us with kind of a shitty bathroom. And then I had to pay a different builder who was actually good another £500 to come and fix it. Oh, it sucks so hard. But, you learn, I guess.
Yeah, you know what sucks really bad? With that £2,000, you could have bought an RTX 3090 Ti.
I could have had, but I wouldn't have had a bathroom. So, I don't think my girlfriend would have been too happy about that. But
I could have bought a graphics card with this money.
yeah. I could have bought one thing this big or had an entire bathroom fitted. It is mad how expensive PCs are. It's stupid. Yeah. Stupid that I have a PC that is that good.
Yeah,
and I don't really need it.
Bad but the prices is just insane.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's because we do what we do and we stream and we make content and edit.
We
videos
use a
and
bit
stuff.
more than an average user, though.
Exactly. If I were to go to somebody that's like, oh, I've played a video game before, and you're like, oh, that cost me $3,000. They're like, my PlayStation was 500 quid, and you're like, well, it's not quite the same. I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from, but my computer is a bit different to your PS5. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah. Game on the platform or thing that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Just don't be a twat on the internet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that okay? Still okay thing to say? Twat?
What? Twat. Yeah.
Twat. Yeah.
You can say twat. You can say cunt. That's fine. You can say that.
I forgot we're talking to a British person. Cunt. Apparently, if you say the word cunt in America, everyone's like,
I think it's just a thing. Like, I don't know. Some people find it really offensive, and I'm just like, it's like any other word. Like, I don't say it a lot, but occasionally somebody really is a cunt, and they deserve to be called a cunt. I'm sorry.
builder was a
but
cunt.
They do. He was, but he lives down the road from me, literally 2 minutes walk. He's like 3 times my size. He would kill me. I can't argue with him. I can't start a fight with him.
Just like, good morning, cunt.
Oh, he'd smash my face in.
They'd be like, what you say? I said,
He
do
would.
you want a pint?
He seemed quite dodgy as well. I don't know. Yeah, he came to... Sorry, just before we finish, because I know we're closing on an hour, so I don't want to bring it out too long. But he came to my house, I think the first day. So we turned up in... Here's another thing that I noticed. If you're going to get a builder, generally get a builder who has a van, like preferably with like their logo on it. Don't get a builder who just turns up in his Range Rover, because that seems weird. And I think that's... You know, if he's got a van and he's got his name on the side of the van, he's probably taking it... Like, seriously. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, he turned up in his Range Rover first day and he's like, somebody tried to steal this last night. And I was like, you live down the road from me. Like, I probably need to know about this if there's people burgling cars. And he's like, yeah, it's just parked outside my house. Someone's tried to rob it and they've ripped off my handle. I'm like, we live in like a nice, quiet village. I'm like, I'm thinking he knows some dodgy people or some people are after him.
Some dodgy areas, mate.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very... very odd experience.
I used to watch a TV show on, I think it was ITV. It was called Cowboy Builders.
Yeah.
I love that show.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
It's a good
I mean,
show.
you don't want to be the person that has to deal with the cowboy builder. But it's funny to watch.
Apply for it. Because you.
Oh no, I'm not. Because the thing is, right? I thought about this. I thought
for the content.
No, because there's a difference, right? The same thing. I thought about. Do I take him to like small claims court and trying to get some of my money back, right?
Okay.
And I was like, do I do that? And I'm like, thing is, he lives up the road from me and he is a bit scary. And I'm like, I don't want to have to like move house because of this argument I've got into. If he wanted to, right, he walks 2 steps down the road. He's at my door. He knows where I live. And I'm like, it's not worth it. If it was maybe just me, but my family live there and I can't have that. I can't force that on them.
You could apply for 2 shows then.
We're just going to move on with our lives.
You're just going to apply to the Cowboy Builders and then to Nightmare Neighbors.
Yeah, I don't want to be that dick. I don't want to be on TV being like, oh, it'd be awful. We did once apply to be on a TV show. I don't know whether you've seen it. Don't Tell the Bride. Seen Don't Tell the Bride?
Yeah.
Where they give them like 10 grand or something or 15 grand or whatever it is. And then the guy plans the wedding. Yeah. We applied to be on that. Me and Sarah, this was years ago. We applied to be on that. And we got through to like the next part where we had to do a video, which is quite handy because I know how to do that. Yeah. And I was like, that's all right. We've got a green screen. We could do that. And then we had to do a video like introducing ourselves. But it never went any further than that. But I mean, I think we were too boring because I've seen the show and they're normally like, right, my wife is going to jump out of a helicopter and skydive into the wedding. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that because that would be horrible. I know she'd hate it. I'm too normal and nice, like to be...
Yeah, I got a cake, got a nice dress. I got, all the
we got some music.
Fine.
I found a nice church. I've spent all the money quite reasonably.
She's quite happy.
Yeah. I've given her a nice hen do, and I've just stayed at home and played video games and ordered some pizzas. That's not normally how it works. They're normally like, the lads will go to Amsterdam, and like the girls will just be like,
shit, we run out of money, man.
I've got no money. Oh, we'll have to send the missus to the pub, and that's it with her mates. Well, we've been to Amsterdam. That's how it normally goes. I think we were too boring.
Yeah. So we have to call it in now.
We do. We're on an
Yeah,
hour, so
an hour.
thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Again, we didn't mention during the middle that you can listen
Audio
on
podcast.
Spotify or any of that stuff, but you can. It's all right. It's in the first video, so I've put a little logo,
Yeah,
so we're all good.
yeah,
So you know,
yeah.
it's all right. Be in the description of the video. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back again next week. Raps, you want to do your little outro?
Love your face with a bit of pun, and I'll catch you next time.
Okay, and I will also see you next time.
Bye.